Okay, so you've been hunting for a decent wireless gaming headset, and you've looked at both the mid-range options and at the top-end stuff. You like the price of the mid-range headsets and the features of the more expensive models, and we're hoping for something in between. Well, JBL have you covered with the Quantum 800s. Now, just like with the Quantum 600s, which I also happen to have a review for, this headset is primarily designed for use with PCs. It will work wirelessly with the PS4, PS5 and Mac, and it will work with Xbox, Switch and other devices when connected via a 3.5mm audio cable. You do lose some functionality when not using them with PC though, so along with covering the usual sound, features and comfort in this review, I'll also talk about the experience when not connected to a PC. Given that I've only just reviewed the 600s, I'll also be making quite a few comparisons to them in this review, and if you were trying to decide between the two models, this video should help you make an informed choice. So I've spent the last couple of weeks with the Quantum 800s using them for all of my audio needs. This included music, TV, movies, video chat, and of course gaming. Because they have Bluetooth as well as 2.4 GHz, I've also been using them with my phone for making calls and watching YouTube videos. In terms of being a headset that you can use for just about anything, they definitely step up to the task from a technology point of view. From a practical standpoint, they're a little less suited for some use cases, which I'll cover towards the end. The 800s are JBL's premium wireless headset and are a big step up from the 600s in almost every way. The key differences between the two models are that the 800s have a better response range, they're Bluetooth enabled, and they have active noise cancelling. Basically, they provide a better sounding and more immersive experience, while also being much more flexible in terms of compatibility. For gaming, the Quantum 800s use a low latency 2.4 GHz wireless connection, while Bluetooth 5.0 allows you to pair them with most Bluetooth enabled devices, such as phones and computers. They have 50mm dynamic drivers, a frequency response range of 20Hz to 40 kHz, and the microphone response range is 100Hz to 10 kHz. Charging time is 2 hours from flat to full, and you'll get up to 14 hours use out of them before they need recharging. This is provided you have the lights, noise cancelling and Bluetooth turned off, and I'll cover this in more detail later on. They weigh 410 grams, which is slightly more than the 600s, but still light when compared to other wireless headsets in this price range, and they retail for $349 Australian or $199 US. In the box you get the headset, the USB-C charging cable, a 3.5mm audio cable, the USB wireless dongle, the wind-chilled foam for the microphone, and your warranty stuff. Just like with the Quantum 600s, you can use the 800s via the wireless dongle with a PC, PS4, PS5 and Mac. Additionally, you can connect them to just about anything using the audio cable. For the Bluetooth connection, the 800s use Bluetooth 5.0, which is reasonably low latency, sitting somewhere between 20 and 40 milliseconds. While this probably isn't ideal for gaming, especially competitive games, it does make them suitable for watching TV and movies. I've used them quite a bit paired with my TV to watch movies and stream the Formula 1, and I've never had an issue with audio sync. Having Bluetooth really opens up a lot of possibilities. If you thought the 600s were a flexible headset, well, I'd challenge you to find a device that the 800s can't connect to. If you want something that you can use for everything, the Quantum 800s are a great all-purpose headset/headphone. What's really cool is that you can use both Bluetooth and 2.4G at the same time. Why is this cool? Well, for starters, if you're using the 800s with a PS4 or 5, you could also pair them with your phone to use simultaneously with Discord, which would otherwise be something you could only do with a PC. I found it really useful to pair with my phone and watch YouTube videos while waiting in lobbies. Now, if you're not using them with a PC, this will limit some of the headset's capabilities and some of its best features. When using them with anything but PC, you don't get DTS:X or JBL Quantum surround sound. This means that for everything except PC, the sound is stereo, not surround. The game and chat dial is also a PC-only feature, so you'll need to dive into your connected device's audio settings to adjust the levels when using them with anything else. For some people, the loss of 3D audio simply won't be a big deal. If you can't tell the difference between stereo and surround or don't really care, then this is still a great sounding headset. If you do care about surround sound, then it's definitely worth bearing this limitation in mind. If you're looking to buy these primarily for use with a console and need surround sound, then you'll want to consider something else. For the most part, the Quantum 800s are an easy headset to get up and running. The wireless dongle is basically plug and play. All you need to do is switch the audio output in your system settings, and pairing them via Bluetooth is even easier. What isn't great is the process of updating them. I covered this in detail in my Quantum 600 review, so I'm not going to cover this problem again in the same detail. Basically, updating the headset using the Quantum Engine software can be tricky if you're not using a reasonably new PC. If you're having problems updating the firmware, maybe check out my Quantum 600 review, because I listed a couple of ways you could troubleshoot this process. Also, the extra views won't hurt. The Quantum Engine software is otherwise fairly straightforward. You can select from different EQ presets, you can create your own EQ levels, and you can customize the lights on the outside by changing the colors and how they illuminate. If you're not a fan of the Fast and Furious look, then you can turn the lights off using the software too. For surround sound, you'll need to have the Quantum Engine software installed. It's only available for PC, which is why surround sound is a PC-only feature. The Quantum Engine also allows you to enter your head size to make sure you're getting the most immersive surround experience possible. Apart from updating the firmware, the only other issue I came across was that when plugging in the back button attachment on PS4, it disconnects the headset. This is most likely because it plugs into the headphone jack and the console automatically switches the audio to this output. Interestingly though, this doesn't happen with my Astro A50s. Otherwise, during the 2 weeks I've been using the 800s, their performance has been flawless. Okay, so probably the most important question is, what do they sound like? There's a couple of big differences over the 600s in terms of sound. The most fundamental is that the Quantum 800s are an active noise cancelling headset. This feature is reserved for use with the wireless dongle, so it's not available through the wired connection. Now, I don't think that the ANC actually makes a giant difference to background noise attenuation. The ear cup design is already pretty effective at passively cutting out a large amount of ambient noise. That's not to say that they aren't any good at cutting out background noise. You'll have a hard time hearing the outside world while wearing these, but there are more powerful ANC solutions out there. ANC certainly cuts out additional background noise, but most significantly what it does is produce a much fuller sound. You do lose a little crispness when using ANC, but it's not significant, and overall I think that most people will prefer how they sound with this feature switched on. Using ANC, the low end has great presence, and the best way I can describe it when listening to TV and movies is meaty. The other big difference over the 600s is the increased frequency response. The 800s have a wider range, from 20Hz to 40kHz. While some might debate if there's any difference between 20kHz and 40kHz, it's clear that the 800s have more attention to detail. What does this mean in relation to gaming? Well, it should let you hear that sneaky bastard creeping up behind you more easily against the rest of the gunfire and explosions. I guess this is what JBL means by sound is survival. Like the 600s, they're quite bass heavy. Unlike the 600s, there's a much better separation between the low end and mid-range. This makes the Quantum 800s more suited to listening to music, TV and movies. If you're watching this kind of content on a PC, then they're a great headset for TV and movies because you can take advantage of the surround sound capabilities. While we're on the topic of surround sound, you might be wondering, how necessary is it really? This will depend on the types of games you play. For first-person shooters and open-world games, surround sound can not only be more immersive, but provide a competitive advantage. For 2D games like fighting games, surround sound can be almost indistinguishable from stereo. I can already hear some people grumbling in the comments at this statement, but for the average gamer, I think in a lot of situations they won't be able to tell the difference between the two. I've recorded this section using the built-in microphone to give you an idea of the sound quality. As far as I can tell, the microphone is the same unidirectional microphone found on the 600s. According to the specs, the 800s have something called echo cancelling technology, which in theory should reduce background noise even further. In my testing though, I honestly couldn't hear a huge difference between the two. For reference, this is what the microphone on the 600s sound like, and then this is what the 800s sound like. If there's a difference, it's marginal. Muting the microphone can be done by either pushing it upwards or by using the mute button on the left ear cup when wireless. This button is handy if you need to mute yourself for a brief moment and don't want to flick the microphone up and down. The microphone works with Bluetooth devices too, and although they may not be the most discreet headset for talking on the phone, it's certainly nice to be able to answer your phone mid-game without taking off the headset. Battery life is a little complicated to evaluate because of the number of ways you can run this headset. The quoted 14 hours playback time is based on the lights being turned off, and just like with the 600s, I think this is pretty accurate based on my testing. Additionally, you also have active noise cancelling and Bluetooth. Turning either of these features on reduces the amount of playback time further. Running ANC, Bluetooth and the 2.4G wireless at the same time unsurprisingly impacts playback time significantly. How much time it reduces the battery life was a little hard to quantify because I wasn't constantly running all of these features at the same time, but at a guess, I'd say that using them simultaneously roughly halves the battery life. They'll automatically power off if they don't receive a signal after about 10 to 15 minutes, and you get a warning sound through the headset about 40 minutes before they bite the dust. It only takes 2 hours to charge them from completely flat to completely full, and you can use them without any power via the audio cable. Unfortunately, you can't charge them and use them at the same time. With the 600s, I was able to charge them and use them simultaneously with the audio cable, but this doesn't seem to be possible with the 800s. When talking about comfort, the Quantum 800s have plenty of flex and adjustment. I think I have a pretty average size head and there's heaps of room left, so people with massive heads should be covered. The leather-wrapped memory foam ear cups are pretty comfortable, although they don't breathe all that well and can get a little hot. It is almost summer here in Australia right now though, so you might want to take that with a grain of salt. Overall, I found the 800s to be a great headset for extended sessions. Whether you're poning the noobs, bobbing to some fat beats, or watching The Notebook, these are a comfy pair of cans. The JBL Quantum 800s are a worthwhile upgrade from the 600s. They're an extremely versatile headset, both in terms of what you can connect them to, and how well suited they are to a variety of different types of media. They sound good with everything I've thrown at them, and while the noise cancellation isn't industry leading, it is still very effective. I wouldn't say that they're a good choice if you're only going to use them with a PS4 or PS5 simply because of the lack of surround sound. If surround isn't essential and you want something that will work with lots of different systems, then they really can be used for everything, especially because you can use the Bluetooth and 2.4G simultaneously. As a PC headset, they're even better, providing excellent surround sound that rivals the top-end gaming headsets at a much more affordable price. If you enjoyed this video, why not drop it a like, or conversely, a dislike if you didn't. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when new videos go live. And if you like what I do and want to support the channel, head on over to the Patreon page. Otherwise, thanks for your time.